do, Dream Team? It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with the F1 World Champion problem. I didn't know there was a problem with F1 World Champion, but we're finna watch this video and find out what it is. Before we do, make sure you subscribe, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so I get suggested. Let's see what we got.
F1 has a world champion problem. Now, I'm not talking about how Lewis Hamilton has 7 world titles instead of 9, if it weren't for a Dutch kid who got left at a gas station and a Monaco-based YouTuber, but instead I want to discuss the issue of winning opportunities and competition in the sport.
That's crazy. Complete domination.
Which is a problem that has been out for
O is suicide, X is give up.
for a while now, but only showed up again, especially after the 2023 season, which generally went like this.
Great tests in all of sport! And Formula One is racing! Max Verstappen wins!
All Formula One drivers are hungry. Like, really, really hungry. Like, if you put a buffet in front of them, that shit is gone in a split second. Like, all of them want wins and world titles. You know, for example, Fernando Alonso is chasing his 33rd win and possibly his 3rd world championship with Aston Martin. And we also have Lando Norris, who is also wanting his first win, which not only he could have done 2 years ago until he decided to pull a very pro-gamer move. And he's possibly also
a very pro-gamer move.
McLaren, while Oscar Piastri, Alex Albon, and Yuki Tsunoda are also often remarked as future world champions. And don't forget that we also have the Ferrari boys wanting a title for themselves, especially Charles, who has been vigorously butt-fucked by the team. This guy has been screwed over way too many times. I don't know why the fuck he's so committed. Then we also have Lewis Hamilton, who is that one guy when you play video games who just can't seem to end in a loss. And he also recently...
Who just can't seem to end on a loss is crazy, dog. Y'all can't do 7-time world champion Lewis like that.
He said this. George Russell definitely felt like kissing his rear tire after that one.
This is the accident. Oh, and it was the merest of touches.
There's just so much competition in F1, and don't forget that we also have Max Verstappen, you know, aka the Jos Verstappen project, who wants to beat all the records that have been set in the past few decades. And this is where the problem comes in, because in F1, only one driver can win a title every single year. And if we're going to consider that all of these drivers get what they want, we'll see all of them fulfilling their dreams by at least 2038. Like, Charles would probably also be the last one to complete his dreams, because, well, he's driving for a Ferrari. Like, by the time all of these drivers would achieve their dreams, you know, they would be passing out in the middle of the Qatar Grand Prix because of climate change.
They're on bouncing at 100 miles an hour. Oh, it's off goes Fernando Alonso!
Now, obviously, the solution to this isn't for drivers to not be hungry for wins and championships because, well, drivers being hungry is what make Formula One great. You know, like, if we're gonna add the hunger of all of these Formula One drivers and put them all in one place, we'll get Nikocado Avocado.
Bro. After Ferrari does a 15-minute pit stop, he signed the contract till 2029.
But the problem I have is the lack of close competition and too much domination of one team. One example.
I agree. I do. Well, though, what I'm saying, enjoy Max's dominance. Lewis had his era of dominance. Schumacher had his era of dominance. I do find it, like, 2021 season was, I feel like, I watched on Netflix Drivers to Survive, and I loved that season so much because it was so competitive. You went into the race weekend not knowing who was coming out on top. Well, it's competitive between the top 2 guys. And then you went into the last race, winner takes all. That was beautiful. That was what the fans want. That's what gets you excited. Although dominant, I love watching greatness. I love watching excellence, records be shattered. Max is killing it right now. I want somebody to challenge him. I want it to be competitive.
But this is the recent 2023 season and Max Verstappen's domination. Now, I'm not saying that this needs to be stopped or that Red Bull doesn't deserve a seat in F1 or anything like that. My thoughts during that entire season was more of the fact that other teams need to step up their fucking game. Like, I swear, Ferrari, what the fuck is a fast pit stop? And Aston Martin, holy shit, what the fuck is an upgrade? So I gladly still believe that Max Verstappen and Red Bull definitely deserved the championship at that season. But just by looking at the points and how many wins were divided this year,
insane.
I have never seen F1 in a poorer state of not having close competition. Like the only other driver that won a race that isn't a Red Bull driver is Carlos Sainz in the Singapore GP, where George Russell decided to go bowling.
Lando's still pushing the win. Russell's off! George Russell into the wall and out of the race!
Speaking about George Russell, Mercedes is also one example of this. Lewis Hamilton has over 100 wins, and as I watched back the era of Mercedes and Hamilton dominance, it eventually got boring and eventually stopped because of some dude named Michael.
No, Mikey, no, Mikey, that was so not right.
But at least back then we had differing race winners almost each time. It seems that the FIA's regulation and rule changes that are supposedly meant to promote closer racing and competition since the 2022 season just ended up backfiring right up into our asses, as we have to swallow the Dutch national anthem almost every single week. It's like, holy shit, finally I get to watch F1, and then, bam! With the issue of domination and close competition that the FIA promised us, there's just this feeling of so much lost talent in F1 that pains me as a fan. This, I think, shows the world champion problem in the sport. There's so many drivers that want to win in so many of these domination eras, to the point where there's other drivers who deserve a world title but just can't seem to get it because of these eras that are reducing the amount of opportunities they have to win. Fernando Alonso has been after his third world title for over 15, 20 years, dude. He's been at it for decades. And obviously he didn't get it because of Ferrari and their amazingly developed car in 2014 and the McLaren Honda days, which are... Oh boy, the McLaren Honda days. Let's not talk about that. But anyways, we have other drivers like Nico Hülkenberg, who's edging a Haas into Q3 in the 2023 season. Like, he's pulling a wounded soldier with him, and he still hasn't gotten a podium to this day. Like, if getting trophies for pulling women was a thing, I'd be Nico Hülkenberg.
Jamen, han prøver på udebanen. Once again, most unsportive driver of the grid. Suck my balls, mate. Yeah.
Don't forget that we also have Charles, who deserves a world title, but probably isn't gonna get it until 2038. Like, I swear, by the time that guy wins a championship, half of the Ferrari fans would probably be dead either from secondhand embarrassment or high blood pressure. Because this is not sustainable. Now, the solution isn't to turn F1 into a UFC roster with all these different divisions. We kind of already have that, with F4, F3, Formula no engine, so nobody watches it. Formula 2.
Formula no engine, so nobody watches it.
F1 Academy. The problem is not to give drivers the titles that they want by increasing the amount of titles actually available to win. That isn't the solution. But to actually make rules that allow closer racing and for teams to actually have equal opportunities to win. But obviously balancing fairness and competitiveness is going to be very, very difficult. But I'm just going to let the FIA figure that out, which means that there's probably nothing that's going to happen in the next couple of years. But part of the World Championship problem is also how it's used as a measurement of talent and skill in the sport. Championships do not determine which driver is better than the other, and I think a lot of new fans are doing this a lot, which really kind of irritates me as an older fan. And there are some older fans as well, especially Team LH, who are really just dick riding Lewis just because he has 7 world titles and shitting on Alonso because he only has 2. Like, a driver with 2 or 3 world championships or 4 could just be as good as a driver with 7, So if you're a new F1 fan who is measuring skill with stats and wins and championships, you're greatly mistaken. So overall, the best solution when it comes to the F1 World Championship...
I don't know how to measure a driver. I'm a newer F1 fan. I guess it's hard for me to measure a driver any other way. You feel me? And I understand, some cars just aren't as competitive. Like, Red Bull has the best car. I understand Red Bull has the best car. But it's records being broken, championships won, and all of that is probably how I measure, because I am a newer F1 fan. I don't know how to measure it, like I said, any other way than that. So how do y'all measure who the greatest is? I would, because right now, if I had to choose, it'd be like Michael and Schumacher and Lewis up top because they got the 7 world titles. But then Lewis, I think, has the most races won. And I know Max is coming for a lot of those records. He's shattering a lot of records as the youngest to ever do so freaking much. And it's like, I don't, I don't know how else to measure it other than accolades, I guess. Because, like, I'm an NBA fan. That's my favorite sport. And it's harder to measure that off a championship won. I guess because it's more of a team sport. You know what I'm saying? Where I guess F1 is also a team sport because the pit stops, all of the mechanics working on the car, the team principal, the engineering, the there's so many people who do it. So I guess F1 is also definitely a team sport. Yeah, I don't know then. Yeah, in basketball, you can be as dominant as you want, but if the teammates around you aren't great, then you're not going to win. So it's hard to measure. I don't know. Y'all tell me how y'all measure it. I'm just going to say that.
Problem is definitely going to be stricter regulations to allow teams to have an equal opportunity to win and really just to give drivers a fair fighting chance to actually have a victory and a championship for themselves. These rules really need to go into a better path so that everybody has an opportunity to win and an opportunity to shine in F1. But obviously, once again, balancing fairness and competition in a sport is gonna be very challenging. Obviously, people have suggested, why don't they just make all the cars the same? Why don't they just make all the engines the same?
So pretty good one. So yeah.
Equal engines for everyone.
And sure, that might be a pretty good argument, but F1 is not just a racing sport, it's also an engineering sport, you know?
Yes.
There's teams who are investing so much time and resources into making the best engines in the world and also the best aerodynamics that a car can possibly have. Like Adrian Newey, I bet when he saw the other cars on the grid, he definitely had that I can fix her mentality because holy shit, how far back the other teams were really just showed how much the regulations have not done justice to bringing in closer competition to F1. Or maybe Red Bull's just built different. I don't really know.
I think they're just built different.
If I made any mistakes with my assumptions and maybe my opinions in this video, and maybe you guys have a different kind of perspective on the world champion problem that F1 has, feel free to share it in the comment section. But yeah, so let's just hope that, you know, other drivers get their opportunity to shine in the future, and let's just hope that the FIA makes the right decisions.
I feel like Red Bull
They're not gonna do shit.
different. Nah. And I don't know how to make it fair and competitive. I don't know how to fix it. Y'all comment how y'all will fix it, but right now we're just in the Max Verstappen era. That's all we got. Make sure y'all subscribe, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal, out.